So the interesting thing about endurance sports car racing and the IMSA series in particular is we start the season off with our Super Bowl. Most sports, the big events are usually towards the end of the season. In our sport, the biggest event is the start of the season. And then we follow that with our second biggest event, Sebring, so we do 36 hours of racing in the first two races. That requires a huge amount of work in preparation on the cars and the spare parts that go with supporting those cars, so we have to have everything ready, not only to have the car on track, but if something goes wrong. So the guys not only prepare the car in terms of a complete rebuild from the previous season or a new car. And this year we've got two cars that we're running the same cars from last year, so we're doing a complete rebuild on them. All the mileage components that would be over mileage during the race season, we make sure that we've got all fresh items on the car, driveline, engines, transmission. Electrics have all been gone through, wiring harnesses have all been checked, because the cars have just done 20,000 kilometers of racing in a season, and now they've got to start off on another 20,000 kilometers with the first race being 24 hours. So the amount of preparation is, what people see at the track is the tip of the iceberg. So when you look at the Roar schedule, it looks like a lot of track time, but then you got to factor in that you've got 4 drivers to try and cycle through the car. You can't cycle 4 drivers in an hour session and get any usable track time, so you need to figure out how to carry over from one session to the next and schedule a driver time. And all of a sudden you get to the end of the Roar and the drivers don't feel like they've got enough track time. So you've got to factor that in on top of, all right, we need to figure out how to make the car go quicker and try and fit in some experiments on making the car better. And we've got some returning drivers and some new drivers at the Roar, so seat time is probably the bigger factor unfortunately, than on spending it all on setup. New drivers are always fun because they've got to integrate themselves to the team, not only with the mechanics, but with the other drivers. And it's like any team, it's like running a relay race. Take the strengths and weaknesses of each driver and build the best relay team. Because all the drivers have to fit in the same car, ideally you try and fit them so that they're physically of similar size. Makes the driver changes easier. It's not the primary factor, but it's certainly one thing you take in mind. Personality, fit, have they worked together as teammates? How do they work in terms of full season versus part season? So full season pairings are Jack and Parker and Townsend and Frankie. Jack and Parker are a new pairing. Townsend and Frankie have worked together for multiple years. It's a combination of a number of factors.